Hello, this is Mrs. Ostrich. This is lesson 9.3, and our essential question is, how can you record tenths and hundreds as fractions and decimals? Okay, so let's unlock the problem. Daniel spent a day hiking through a wildlife preserve. During the first hour of the hike, he drank 6/10 liters of water. How many hundredths of liter did he drink? So basically what they want you to do is find an equivalent fraction for 6/10, only with a denominator of hundredths. Okay, so we have done this before. We converted fractions to find their equivalent fraction. So right now, one way is to write 6/10 as an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 100. So let's find the equivalent fraction of 6/10 with a denominator of 100. Okay, so let's begin. Let's remember, how do we get an equivalent fraction? Whatever we do to the denominator, we have to do to the same to the numerator. So to get from tenths to hundredths, you multiply the denominator by 10. 10 times 10 is 100. Whatever we did to the denominator, we have to do to the numerator. 6 times 10 is 60. So 6/10 is equal to 60 100ths. Well, let's show this in the model. Write 6/10 as an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 100. So here we're going to color in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tenths. Oops. 6/10. So that's colored in. Now we have a 100 base model, and we want to color in 60 100ths. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. And as you can see, this is the same size as the first model. So 6/10 is equivalent to 60 100ths. Okay, another way to do it. Write 6/10 as a decimal. 6/10 is the same as 6/10 and 0 hundredths. So there's no ones. So we put a 0 there. Don't forget the decimal, because we're working with decimals. We're doing 6/10, which if we put a 0 at the end, we have 60 hundredths. So 6/10 and 60 hundredths is the same amount. So Daniel drank 6/10 or 6/10 as a decimal liter of water. Okay. Let's go to the next page. Jasmine collected 0.30 or 30/100ths liter of water in a jar during a rainstorm. How many tenths of a liter did she collect? So right now we're converting from hundredths to tenths. As a reminder, equivalent decimals are decimals that name the same amount. You can write 0.30 as a decimal that names tenths, as well as 30 hundredths. You can also write that in tenths. So let's show one way is write 30 hundredths as an equivalent decimal. So let's begin. There's 0 ones, decimal, 3 tenths, and 0 hundredths. There are no hundredths. So 30 hundredths is equivalent to 3 tenths. Write 30 hundredths as 3 tenths. Okay. There is also one more way to do this. Write 30 hundredths as a fraction with a denominator of 10. So write 30 hundredths as a fraction. 30 hundredths is 3 hundredths. So 30 hundredths written as a fraction is 0.3, written as a fraction, is 3 hundredths. Step 2. Write 30 hundredths as an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 10. Sorry, that's 30 hundredths. Write 30 hundredths as an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 10. Think, 10 is a common factor of the numerator and the denominator. So, to get an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 100 to a denominator of 10, we have to divide that. So 31 hundredths divided by 10 is equal to 10. So whatever you do to the denominator, you have to do to the numerator. So 30 divided by 10 equals 3 tenths. So Jasmine collected 3 tenths, or 0.3 liters of water. The last one is a share and show. Write 4 tenths as hundredths. Write 4 tenths as an equivalent fraction. So we're going from tenths to hundredths. How do we go from tenths to hundredths? We need to find the equivalent fraction. 10 times what is 100? We know that is 10. 10 times 10 is 100. Therefore, 4 times 10 is 40. So write 4 tenths as equivalent fraction. An equivalent fraction is 40 100ths. And another way we can do that is just use the place value chart. Write 4 tenths as a 0. 0 ones, 0.4. 0 ones, 0.4. The decimal is 0.4. So 4 tenths is fraction, can also be written as 0.4 as a decimal. To convert 4 tenths to an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 100, you must multiply both the numerator and denominator by 10. Okay. So on your own, please complete lesson page 509 and 510. Thank you.